Now we are going to move to the third image. So you have to put here 2. The first was 0, the second was 1, and the third is 2. And let's see what we are going to find here. We are going to see the parameter modes. The parameter modes are those 4 different states of a parameter. How we just saw, a parameter is everything what we find here in this box. I'm going to check one kind of element that it's like complex, in this case this movie file in. For example, I'm going to turn off the unlock, and look here what we are going to find when we open. All the parameters are, every parameter has 4 boxes, and every box has a specific color. The first is gray, the second is blue, the third is gray, and the fourth is violet. And every time that I position my mouse on top of every box of that, it will show the label. The first show constant, the second, that is the blue, show expression, the third, that is the green, shows export, and the fourth, that is the violet, shows bind. And every kind of parameter mode has a specific behavior. So we are going to begin with the constant. All the parameters always by default came in constant. So always that we saw that the number or that the text is in gray color is because it's a constant. It's a constant value that I can change, but if I change it, it will keep in that way. For example, in this case, we have the speed parameter. The speed parameter, it will be always in 1. That means that the speed of my video, it's in 100%. If I change it for 2, the number will keep gray, and the first box is completely filled. It's because now I am in the constant mode for that parameter. It will keep just the number that I will give to them. Or I can go to the 2 and the speed is going to be double, or I can go to 3 and the speed now is going to be 3 times the normal one, or I can put minus 0.5, and now is going to be half of the speed, but also is going to be in reverse. But in this case, it depends of the number that I put there in that field. This is the number that will keep, and I cannot change it from anywhere. The second option is the expression. The expression is when I use a specific Python or T expression to bring that value to the parameter. In this case, I can use an expression that it will take a number from another operator. For example, I can create here a constant, and that constant has just one channel with the value 0 in this moment. So the expression, it will also use a specific kind of a structure. In this case, I will use this one that I find here. Now I'm going to use an expression that uses a Python structure. In this case, this expression that I'm going to write, it's the way that I bring information from one channel to my specific parameter. So now I need to create a new channel. In this case, it's an operator, a constant operator with a channel that in this moment has a 0 as a value, but it can change, as you can see here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to relate this number with the speed of this video. So every time that I change the value here, this is always going to change the speed of my video. I can do it in 2 ways. I'm going to show it first how to write it, and I will show you later how to read it in the easiest way. So the structure here is that I need, so the syntax is always OP, I open the bracelets and I put the quote marks and inside I will write the name of my operator. And after that, I will open the bracelets, the square bracelets, and I will put my quote marks and inside the name of the channel. So for that, I will put first OP, I open and close, I put my quote marks and write the name of the operator that I want to use. In this case, is constant 2. And after that, I need to write the second part with the squared bracelet. I open and close the quote marks and I write chan 1. That is exactly the name that I have here. And in this case, look what I have here. The number that it's bringing from there is 0.15. And now the speed of my video is exactly 0.15. I want to open the parameters just for these operators. So I'm going to make right click parameters. I'm going to open it. And if I change that parameter, it's going to be reflected also here. And the speed is going to change. So this is the way that the expressions work. If I want to do it without writing anything, I can erase what I have, and this is going to bring back to the state of the constant. So to make that relation without writing anything is going to be in that way, in this way. I need first to activate the operator that I want to change. In this case, it's going to be modify link. I'm going to change the speed parameter. The second step is that I need to activate the operator where the number that I want to bring is. So in this case, that operator is constant. So I need to activate it with the button with the plus sign inside. I activate and all the elements around change. And now if I position my mouse on top of that operator, the channel is going to highlight as green. If I turn off and I put my mouse on top of that, the channel is not going to highlight. If I activate it, the channel is going to highlight. Now that it's highlighted, I can click and drag. So I click, I hold, and I drag to the parameter. And when I get to the parameter, the mouse element is going to change. So let's do it again. I have my regular mouse with the row. I position it on top of the parameter, and that row is going to change for a symbol that is like a triangle. If I click and drag, now that triangle is going to change to a row with the right direction. I can move it and position it on top of any parameter. In this case, I will put it on top of speed, and every time that I'm on top of that parameter, that row that is heading to the right, it will also have a plus sign. When that plus sign is there, is because I can drop my number in that parameter. So I'm going to drop it, and when I drop it, it's going to ask me, do you want to export that shop? Do you want to make a shop reference? Do you want to get the current shop value, or you want to cancel? If I want to make an expression, I need to choose shop reference. And when I do click in shop reference, this is going to bring me the same thing that I write before. OP, open bracelets, open quote marks, constant 2, that is the name of the operator, close it. Now I open square bracelet, open and close it, quote marks, and the name of the channel. Is the same way, and is using the same syntax structure of Python. Now the third parameter mode is the export, and the color of that one is green. In this case, I'm going to make another channel in this constant. I'm going to call it second, for example. Again, I can change the value here. And now I'm going to make again a link between second and another parameter. So in this case, I'm going to make a link with the play button. So if it's 0, the bottom is off. If it's 1, the bottom is on, so it's playing or not. And I can make it with the second channel. So now I'm going to do it in the same way. I'm going to activate it. I'm going to positioning my mouse on top of that channel. Click, hold, and drag. I will position it on top of the play parameter in the bottom or in the numeric parameter. Drop it, and I will select, in this case, export shop. If I click export shop, it's going to turn green. And now I go again to the constant parameters. Now this one is related with play. And if I go to 0, the play is off, so it's not reproducing my video. If I go to 1, now the play is on, so now I'm reproducing my video. So we have there those two options. Those two modes, export and expression, are doing in this case the same, but the only difference between those two is that I can edit the expression mode. For example, I can multiply it for 2, but the export mode I cannot edit it. I just will receive exactly the same value that I get from the source. I cannot change it. And now we have the last parameter mode. For that, I'm going to create 2 more parameters here. I'm going to expand it, just those 2, and I'm going to see that I have in every parameter the name and also have the number. So it's my parameter, it's name2. Name2 has the name parameter and the number parameter, and name3 has the name parameter and the number parameter. What I want to show you now is how can you make a bidirectional relation. When I say a bidirectional direction, is that if I link this value with my second parameter, for example, I get here and I drop it with a reference, I will change this first, and the second is going to be also changed and affected. But if I try to move the second, the first is not going to be affected, and the link is going to be broken. And it's the same if I do it with export. For example, I drop it there. In this case, I just have reference or value. If I put value, this is going to keep the same value that is here. But if I drop it and select bind, if I move my first parameter, is going to be affected the second, and if I move my second, is going to affect the first. So it's a bidirectional link, and it's really useful. It depends also the solution that you are programming. So we have just one direction relation or bidirectional relation with bind. And you can see here how is the syntax is for that. I have here 4 different parameters, and you can see what is the name of every parameter too inside. Value 0, value 1, value 2, or value 3. And what I did is that I select this, I drag it and drop it here, and I select bind. So I select value 2 and I put it in value 3. So look what it's saying here, me that part that value 2. What that means is that me is referring to this operator. Because it's inside the same operator, is saying that it's me as it was talking about itself. That part is parameter, so that means that a parameter inside me, in this case inside this operator, it's changing this element. And what is that parameter? It's value 2. So the parameter value 2 inside me is changing this parameter with the parameter mode bind. So we saw the constant that are gray, the export that are green, the expressions that are blue, and the binds that are violet. And that is the way that we can interact between different operators even if they are not from the same family.